Hello, my name is Joseph Aprile, and I would like to read some short stories which will be included in an anthology of short stories that should be published relatively soon. The first story I'd like to read is called Prince Charming. Standing under the street lamp at the corner of Vine and Decatur Streets, a solitary, shadowy figure was barely discernible. Dr. Wolin was returning to his flat after an exhausting day at the emergency room at St. Clair's Hospital. He was in his second year of residency and was looking forward to the day that he could begin his own practice. A cold, incessant rain was falling that chilled him to the bone and made him anticipate the warmth of his home. In the pale incandescence of the street lamp, he caught a glimpse of a disheveled figure seemingly marooned in the miserable weather. He could not help but approach. He was astonished to find a young woman wearing an oversized coat and huge boots, feebly huddled against the storm. "Miss," he beckoned, "don't you think you should come out of the rain?" She looked at him with the saddest eyes he had ever seen. "I'm perfectly all right, sir. Thank you anyway." "No, you're not. I'm a doctor, and I know better. You'll contract pneumonia if you stay out much longer in this." "I do appreciate your concern, sir, but I must stay here. I have no choice." "What do you mean?" he asked, completely perplexed by the behavior of this most unusual stranger. He was quite surprised at his own responses, for he was attracted as well as repulsed by her inexplicable manner. "I'm to meet someone here. Someone very special. If I miss him, I will never have the chance again." Who is this person you are to meet?" "Prince Charming," she answered. He stood there for the longest moment with his mouth wide open. He could barely believe what he had just heard. When he looked at her, he saw in her eyes a most crazed expression. He went on his way, leaving the girl beneath the street lamp where he had found her. He felt dazed and disbelieving. He fell asleep that night in a chaotic state of mind after pacing the confines of his home, for hours. He had not seen that pathetic woman for weeks and had almost forgotten her, but one evening he came across her again. She was in that very same place under the street lamp, waiting. He found the feeling of utter confusion and helplessness that she conveyed invade his very pores once again. He thought that in his profession he had seen all there was to see regarding the extremes of human behavior. Yet this woman was a total mystery to him. What was she doing, he asked himself. Why? As he walked by her this time, he tried to hide his face from her. "Prince Charming," she called out to him. "Prince Charming, is that you?" The doctor, on hearing this, panicked and ran into the darkness. He ran until he arrived at his house. He began to doubt his own sanity. He began to wonder if what he thought he saw was actually an apparition created from the turmoil and confusion of his own mind. Dr. Wolin could not get the image of that woman's face out of his mind. He was becoming so distraught that he went to see his close friend, Dr. Neil Sojan. Neil was a psychiatrist of high renown. He had a reputation for uncovering the hidden and dangerous powers of the psyche in even the most troubled minds. He caught up with Neil in the hospital cafeteria. "Neil," he called out, "do you have a moment? I need to talk to you." He spoke at length with his friend about these strange set of experiences. Neil followed the tale very closely and apparently with great interest. Finally he responded, "Well, Dave, that's quite a story. It sounds to me like she is suffering from some kind of neurotic delusion." "That's not too unusual. What is interesting is the way she manifests it. But why is it affecting you so dramatically?" "What do you mean?" Dave answered, obviously feeling defensive. "You look like you're losing sleep over this. Why?" Dave took hold of his emotions and attempted to answer his question. "Neil, I don't know. When I first caught sight of that wretched soul, something came over me. I guess I feel sorry for her." "Are you sure that's all it is?" Dave rose from his seat. "I don't know what you're getting at." He looked at his watch nervously. I do have to get back to OPD. We'll continue this later. Neil nodded to his friend and looked deeply disturbed and perplexed by his friend's distracted state of mind. Suddenly, Dave turned. Do you suppose I might be imagining all of this? Why would you be imagining it? Neil asked. Don't start answering a question with a question. I'm not one of your patients. Neil could see that his friend was very distraught and probably did not need to be put on the hot seat. You're right. I'm sorry. You'd better get yourself some rest. I think you're exhausted. I guess you're right. I'm certain of it. With that, the two friends parted amicably. Weeks passed, and he had not seen the woman again. He was beginning to regain his old composure. He had been courting Martha Pinchot, a student nurse working at the hospital. They had been seeing each other for over a year. She was a lovely woman who was seriously involved with the young doctor. She was, however, greatly distressed when it appeared that Dave had suddenly grown aloof and distant. This was particularly troublesome when she was unaware of the cause of this apparent change in his affections. Dave, she said as they were walking one evening hand in hand, I'm so glad that you have come back to me. What do you mean? Dave asked, appearing somewhat startled by this statement. You've seemed very remote lately. You've rarely talked to me in a long time. Is anything the matter? Dave studied her face carefully and realized that he needed to reassure her. It was nothing, really. I had some pretty tough cases that occupied my mind. I also wasn't feeling all that well. I just didn't want to burden you with my problems. I'm sorry. These were obviously well-chosen words, for Martha's face grew soft and her eyes reflected the depth of both her love and desire. He grabbed her impulsively and was about to kiss her when, from the corner of his eye, he saw the lady under the street lamp. His entire body shuddered and passion instantly left him, leaving in its stead a chilling coldness. Martha stepped backwards. Her face showed both hurt and anger. What's the matter? Why don't you back away from me? What's going on with you? Dave was helpless to respond. Both his mind and heart had fled the comfort of normal human love and affection. He was divorced from reason. What was the most terrifying, however, was the fact that the bridge back to normalcy was quickly disappearing. His eyes became crazed. Leave me alone, he shouted, and suddenly turned and ran into the night. Martha was petrified. Wait! Dave, she yelled. Where are you going? She watched with great astonishment that as the figure of her erstwhile lover faded into the darkness. That night, Dave walked the streets aimlessly. However, his subconscious was directing him with cunning purpose back to the street lamp, where the woman of mystery was standing. Eventually, they were again face to face. This time, they were not strangers. This time, they were mysteriously connected by love and history. Prince Charming, I knew you would come for me. He said nothing, but simply extended his hand. The bonded pair then seemed to vanish from that place and time. Dr. David Wolin was never heard from again. To this day, theories and rumors are suggested and discarded regarding his whereabouts and condition. The end. Thank you for listening to this story. This story, as well as many others, and many other of my literary works, appear at my website at lvau.com. Again, lvau.com. Thank you for listening.